Gauteng, Grade 10, 2023, November, Paper 2. Question 1, this is a data handling question. We're given the maximum temperature in degrees Celsius at 20 tourist resort centres were measured and recorded. The results were recorded in the table below. So we were given the data already in ascending order, which is good. That's important when we want to calculate our measures of spread. And I've just written them out here in a straight line for ease of visibility. So for the first part, 1.1, we're asked to find the median temperature. And the median is also known as Q2, is just the middlemost number of the data when the data is arranged in ascending order. So the median is the number that lies between these two numbers, and 32 plus 32, 64 divided by 2, which is just 32. Then in 1.2.1, we're asked to determine the mean temperature. The mean is just the average, so we can call that x bar. And that's equal to the sum of all of these numbers divided by how many numbers there are. We were told that there's 20. So when we add all of these numbers up, we get the sum to be 500, and that's divided by 20. So x bar is 25. Then the next question, we're asked to find the range of the data. So the range is just the biggest number minus the smallest number. So that is 40 minus 22, which is 18 degrees. And then for 1.2.3, we're asked to find the interquartile range, which is Q3 minus Q1. So we want the upper quartile and the lower quartile. So we already know that the median was here between 32 and 32. And now we want to find the Q3, which is going to be the median of the top half of these numbers. And then Q1 is going to be the median of the lower half of these numbers. Right, so in the same way, I can find Q1. So Q1 is going to be the number between 26 and 28, which is 27. And then I do the same for Q3. So I want the number between 36 and 37, which is 36.5. And this is just 9.5. Right, then 1.3 asks me to draw a box and whisker diagram to represent the data. Okay, so I know that my minimum was 22, which is here. My maximum was 40. My median was 32. My Q3 was 36.5. My Q1 was 27. Then my Q1, my Q2, and my Q3 make up the box. And I use the whiskers to connect my min and my max. And then the final part, 1.4, says that the tourism sector claims that 20% of the resorts recorded temperatures too hot for tourist activities. Determine the minimum recorded temperature that satisfies the above claim. So if 20% of the resorts had temperatures that were too hot, that means that the top 20% of temperatures were regarded as too hot for tourist activities. So I want to find 20% of the upper half of my data, or 20% of the upper section of my data. So 20% is 1/5. And I had 20 tourist centers in total, right? I had 20 data points. So 1/5 of these 20 data points is equal to 4. So the 4 highest ones were temperatures that were too hot, which means that the minimum recorded temperature that satisfies this claim is 37. Question 2. A supermarket sells light bulbs. The store keeps a record of the wattage of the light bulbs that they sold in the month of October 2023. The monthly sales are summarized in the table below, and then we're given a frequency table. So for example, the number of light bulbs where the wattage is between 80 and 95 watts, there were 3 of them sold. The ones between 95 and 110 watts, there were 17 of them sold, and so on. Right, then we have some questions. So 2.1. How many light bulbs were sold in the month of October? So for that, we just sum up all of the different frequencies of the types of light bulbs that were sold. And we get that to be 77. Then 2.2. We're asked what the modal class of the data above is. So the modal class means the one with the highest frequency, or the most occurring number of sales in this case. And that happens here where the frequency is 31. So the modal class is X between 110 and 125 watts. Then 2.3, determine the interval in which the median lies. So the median is going to be the middlemost data point, and we know that the total data points was 77, which means that the middlemost one is the halfway of 77, which is 38.5. So we're looking for the class that has the data point that's in the 38.5th position. So in the first 2 classes, we've only got up to positions 20. And then in the first 3 classes, we've got up to positions 51. So in the first 2 classes, there wasn't enough to make it 38.5. And then when I add the last class, the 31, then I'm definitely exceeding the 38.5. Which means that the 38.5th position must lie in this class. (2.4) Express the number of light bulbs with the most popular wattage as a percentage of the October sales. So the most popular wattages were the ones between 110 and 125. And we want it as a percentage of the total sales that happened in October, which we found were 77. So that's going to be 31 over 77. And it says as a percentage, so it times by 100. So I have 40.0 0.26%. Then 2.5, estimate the mean wattage of light bulbs that were sold. So for this mean, which is the average, X bar, I want to use this formula. Okay, and my X is going to be the midpoint of these class intervals that I have, and the F is just going to be the frequency. So the midpoints for the classes are as follows. So for the first one, I have 87.5. So that's 80 plus 95 divided by 2. For the second, I have 95 plus 110 divided by 2, which is 102.5. And then for the next one, I've got 110 plus 125 divided by 2, 117.5. And I do the same for the rest. $147.5. So now I have all the midpoints. So to get this value of X bar, I'm going to have the sum of all of these midpoints multiplied by the frequency. So I'm going to have 3 times 87.5 plus 17 times 102.5 plus 31 times 117.5 plus 16 plus 132.5 plus 10 times 147.5. So when I add up all of those, I get 9,242.5, and the sum of the frequencies, again, is just 77. And this is equal to 120.03. And then the final part, 2.6, says the manager of the store decided to display the data collected on a pie chart. Calculate the size of the largest angle of the pie chart. So the largest segment of the pie chart is going to be this one, the 31 one, because that's the most amount of sales that happened in any one of the classes. So I'm going to have 31 over the total amount, 77. And now that I want it as a percentage of a pie chart, instead of having times 100, I'm going to have times 360, so that it's proportionate to the 360 degrees in the angles of a pie chart, the total angles of a pie chart. So this is my fraction of the most popular sales multiplied by the total number of angles in the circle of a pie chart, and I get 144.94.